biogas worldwide normally is not seen as a noble fuel because actually producing biogas is extremely easy. Bacteria are everywhere. Cows produce biogas, we produce biogas, anyone produces, and anything that rottens has the capacity to produce biogas. You just need to take out the oxygen and you will have the production of a mixture of methane and CO2. So the key is how you do this industrial ways in large scale. And this is what we've been doing at our company the last 17 years, doing efficient large-scale biogas production. Why is this great? The key thing here is that the renewable and the fossil molecule of methane are exactly the same. So natural gas and renewable methane that's content in biogas are exactly the same. So you can drop in fungible being used exactly the same technology. So all the technology that has been developed for the natural gas market in the last 100 years, you can use one-to-one with the renewable methane. And if we can do this in large scale, so that we can use the technologies that are ready for the natural gas industry, this is the big game changer. So, and since, especially in Brazil, we only use waste, we have a huge potential in Brazil only using waste. So you have a carbon neutral or carbon negative footprint. So you have a fungible molecule, same one, carbon neutral, and at competitive prices in Brazil due to the scale that we have here, especially in the sugarcane industry. At Geo, what we developed, Vinassa is a, let's say, old concept for biogas here in Brazil since the 80s. We want to do this, but I think what we brought to the table is using the solid waste. So filter cake, muds, bagasse, and so we gain scale, we increase the plants by 5, and more especially, we can have base load gas. So you can have gas all year long, not seasonal gas. So seasonal gas is a little bit difficult to monetize. So especially if you want to go into the fuel industry instead of electricity market. So, I know I'm gonna get excited with the subject. I've got 1/3 already of my presentation, just still the first slides. Sorry about that, guys. I'll do it a little bit faster, Bruno. But the great thing is that when you have the biogas, you have a high quality fertilizer that goes back and close the loop. No nutrients, you don't lose nutrients. You don't have nitrogen volatilization. All the minerals are available, degraded, composted material. So, yeah. So what we want to do as Geo is being a green hydrocarbon producer, and what the derivatives, what you can do with this. So we're working on bio-LNG concepts, we are doing diesel substitution, we're working on methanol, green methanol projects. So everything that you can do with natural gas and with hydrocarbons we can use. And using, of course, the biogenic CO2 that comes along, that if and when the hydrogen world starts, they will need biogenic CO2 to make this happen. So you won't have a liquid hydrogen without the carbon. So having base load carbon of pure biogenic CO2 is very important. So the company is 17 years old. Our first plant has been operating since 2012. We had a lot of experience. We overspent 3 times what we thought we would spend when we started in 2010. We thought in 2 years we would be up and running. Took us 5 or 6 years. Now, since 2017, I think we have it in place. But we have a great research center. We've collaborated already with MarketStrat in the past. We have almost 10 PhDs working with us. We have pilot plants in every scale. We are developing renewable kerosene, so SAF project, actually green synthetic fuel. green synthetic petroleum actually. So we're doing a lot of research, to take really the biology of what we're doing to the limit, right? Since we don't have a subsidy or here in Brazil or high prices, we need to be competitive, so we're taking the biology to the limit of what we can do. Since 2018, we have a JV with Raízen, Brazil's leading ethanol and sugar producer. So everything that Raízen does in biogas is through a joint venture with us. We have our leading case project at Cocal, where it was the first isolated gas pipeline in Brazil together with Necta. I saw here some guys from Necta here. So the concept is really distributed gas production close to consumers in a totally isolated gas pipeline, 50-kilometer gas pipeline, just based on our biomethane from the sugar mill. And since 2022, we have a JV with a company where we have the first industrial organic waste project here in Brazil. So we have 6 projects running. And since last year, we have a JV with Mitsui. In Brazil, Mitsui is the biggest natural gas distribution company. And we have a JV with them called Geomit, where we also have the financial solution and the local knowledge for the gas market. So we have today we have the technology, we have financing capacity, we have the marketing of the gas in-house. So I think we are pretty ready for the market that's about to come. So a little bit of our projects. So this is, to the left is our industrial organic waste project. I've been operating since 2024, processing 150,000 tons of waste per year from the city of São Paulo, or for the great city of São Paulo. So everything that smells in the city of São Paulo, except of municipal organic waste, we transform in fertilizer, biomethane, electricity, and CO2 food grade. To the right below is our Cocal project, big fermenters. We went in scale, 8,000 cubic meter each. This plant processes 7,000 tons of liquids per day, so almost 2 million per year, and 500 tons per day of solid waste. So pretty big scale projects. And of course, especially for the sugarcane industry, we have the vision of the circular economy, where we bring in also, besides of the waste from the sugarcane, and we see this as an energy efficiency, just using vinasse and filter cake, we increase the energy efficiency of a ton of cane by 15%. So you gain 15% more energy output per ton of cane comparing just to producing ethanol, just using these 2 waste streams. Then you can substitute diesel at the sugar mill, reducing cost and emissions, helping ethanol first generation get closer to carbon neutral. But most importantly, I think that this is a solution to bring in sources of organic nitrogen. So poultry industry, for instance, like we were saying, Congressman, is rich in nitrogen, their waste. And sugarcane needs nitrogen. And poultry waste produces a lot of biogas. So why don't you bring in all the waste from the poultry industry, reducing the emissions of nitrogen and urea, the carbon filter urea, and with this combination of substituting urea or nitrogen, fossil nitrogen source by our organic one, we can combine with diesel substitution, we can reduce by 90% the already low emissions of ethanol first generation. So we can bring ethanol first generation to carbon neutral combining this. And Cocal is doing this starting next month. They will have 1 million chicken just next to our fermenters, going directly into the digesters, getting out the gas, producing extra 50% of gas, and then as fertilizer to the ground. So this is happening today in large scale. So really the emissions that we're having is 90% reduction at least, even if we don't count for negative avoided emissions that can bring this to below zero kind of easily. And like I said, extremely competitive. If you take worldwide, there is a lot of, normally biogas is not seen as an energy business. We see this totally as an energy business. Biogas is seen more as waste disposal, waste treatment, small-scale projects. So gas is sold in the U.S. between $40, $50 per million BTU, up to $80 per million BTU. In Europe, between 40 and 60, gas, I mean biomethane. So with a lot of subsidies involved. Here in Brazil, where we need to make money between $15 and $18 per million BTU. So below, cheaper than diesel, cheaper than LPG, of course a little bit more expensive than natural gas, but since Brazil has no natural gas infrastructure, we can be competitive on that. So a lot of key incentives are happening worldwide that will help us as Brazil as an exporter of renewable materials. Especially, I think the big opportunity and where the law of the future that Congressman Arnaldo was the leader is CBAM, so cross-border justice mechanism. Everything that comes into Europe, starting next year, will need to pay a 90 euro per ton of CO2 tax. So our steel, starting next year, or our ammonia is not in the first round, but ammonia can, without any barrier and without any friction, substitute from natural gas to biomethane and reduce by 90% their emissions. So, and the law of the future that we developed here in Brazil sets up a guarantee of, in English, sorry, certificado de garantia de origem de biometano. So, sorry, a guarantee of origin certificate for biomethane. So having a little bit of trouble with that, but SEGOB, SEGOB, the same thing as CBIOS, maybe you know what CBIOS is, but SEGOB is that will guarantee that what you're buying is biomethane. So, and this will be traded at, it's like a CBIOS at the stock exchange with full transparency and regulated by a National Petroleum Agency. So we have a full transparency certificate that will be ready to be incorporated these green attributes into the products that will be exported into the worldwide. So I think that we're ready for the market. The law of the future that, Fuels of the Future law that was passed here in Brazil, just was passed in Congress. We're under regulation, is kicking in also January 26. We need to put a little pressure on INP, but it's everything going that we will kick in January 26. For the right timing, diesel or natural gas trucks are available, tractors are available. We've seen the results, the plants are operating. The agricultural results, we've seen 5% increase in yields besides with digested against or using what comes out of the biogas that was previously done with this waste. So I think we're ready to go and we're great to be here. Thank you very much for your time, guys.